Hello everyone, in this video we're going to be creating this small project using Next.js and React. We're going to be able to generate color palettes based on the image you upload. So for example, here I have an image here. So as you can see, we have like 6 colors generated based on the image we have. You can also generate as many colors as you want based on the image you upload. So for demonstration purposes, I've only put 6 colors here, but you can put as many colors as you want. So what I'm going to do, I can click copy. This color will be copied. So when I try to paste, you can see we have the color on the clipboard. We're going to be implementing that feature as well. I'm going to change the image now to something else. Notice how the color changes here. The color changes and there's a nice transition as well. So I'm going to also change it to a different picture. And the colors are also going to change based on that image. So everything is going to be dynamic based on the image you upload. Okay, I think this is a pretty nice feature. So yeah, that's the main functionality of this application, to generate color palettes based on the uploaded image. So if you're new to this channel, if you want me to keep making videos like this, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And if you have any questions, if you want to request a specific video, you can email me or let me know in the comment section. And I'll be able to respond to you if I can make the video or not. And yeah, that's it. I will see you in the video. Right. I've already created my project and I did a bit of a cleanup, but I haven't really changed anything. If you go to the pages folder in the index, there's nothing in here. So I just left out the module CSS for the home, and also left out the main because we're going to put a lot of stuff in the main. So that's why I left the main here. But yeah, I haven't done anything to it. So if we go to live preview, it's nothing here. I just removed the basic styles. So if we go to the global CSS, there's just a basic page resetting and nothing else. Okay, so let's start by creating this header section here. And then after that, we're going to move to the body. So let's go to the index. So for the header, we're going to do the header above the main. Okay, so let's create a header element. Header. Okay, so in the header, we're going to have an h1, and then you can name this whatever you want. I'm just going to name this palette gen for generator. You can name this palette generator if you want to. And then in here, we're going to have an input, and then we're going to have a label. So the label, the HTML4 is going to be the file. And then for the label, we're just going to name this upload image. You can name this whatever you want. Upload image. And then after that, we're going to have an input. So with the input, the type is going to be file because we're going to upload the image and then just upload and display the image. Okay, so type is file. And then, so the ID is going to be also file because we want to click this label and also activate this input. Okay, so and then we'll set that to file. And then let's save. So hopefully we should have an input. There it is. So we have an input. So when you click choose file, we're able to select some files. So when I select this file, as you can see now, it shows the image we've selected. Okay, so that's the effect we're looking for. So now let's type this header. So to start the header, let's go to the global, and then that's where we need to do the initial styling for the header. Okay, so let's go to the global. Let's select the header element. But before we do that, I'm just going to get a font family from Google Fonts. Okay, so the font family that we're going to be using in this one is going to be, let's do, it's called Rounded. This one here. And then let's get 400. I think 500, 800, and 700, just in case we might need them later. And also, we are also going to get Poppins. So just search for, the name Poppins. And this is the font. So let's start from 400 as well. Regular 400, 500, 600. I think we can stay at 700, it's fine. And then copy this import link, copy, and then go to the styles. in here, just paste it in here. Okay, I think I might disable this copilot. It might be so distracting. Okay, so now let's copy the font families. Copy this. So in the body, I'll paste these font families here. But for the header, we have the H1. So I'm going to do a header, and then we're going to target the header, and then it's going to have this font family here, the rounded one, and then let's paste it like this. Okay. So the main thing that we need to do is also specify the height for the body. You can give this a minimum height of 100 VH, but I want it to be 100 VH. That's the maximum height. So I'm going to specify the height in here. And for the font family, oh, this should be in the body, not header. Okay, so for the font so now we have the height. We need to also give it a background and a font size. So the font size is going to be 1.2 rem, and then a color. The default color is going to be this one, and then a background color for the body. So let's save. So hopefully we should have a dark color. There it is. Okay, so now we need to focus on the header. So for the header, I'm going to give it a padding. Padding top and bottom, I'm just going to set that to 1 rem, and then 4 rem left and right. Okay, so we're going to have nice padding for RAM left and right. I'm going to give it a width and a minimum height of 10 VH. So the minimum height of the header is going to be like 10 VH. Okay, and then there's our header with a nice background color, but we need to give it a box shadow. So as you can see here, we have bit of a shadow. It's not really that. It's not really that. It's the opacity is very low, so it's not really too visible, but it's there. It makes like a great effect. So now what we need to do is do box shadow. So for the x-axis, we're gonna do 0, and then 3 pixels for the y-axis, and then 6 pixels for the blur, and then we're going to do RGBA. So RGBA, for RGBA, so we're going to do 0. Oops. Let's just do 0, 0, 0. And then the opacity, let's do 0.1. Okay. So hopefully we should have the box shadow. There it is. So the only thing that is missing now is the border, the bottom border. So border bottom. So let's set that to 2 pixels, 2 pixels. And then let's do solid. And then let's do var. And then we're going to do border. So we don't have this variable yet for the border. So what I'm going to do now is let's create this variable in the root. So after here, let's do root. Let's define some variables. So I think that's the only variable we're going to be creating. You can create variables for all of these colors if you want to. But in this case, I'm just going to do the border. So for the border, I'm going to give it a color of hash 363636. Like this. Okay. So there it is. It's not showing because one sec. The spelling is incorrect. Okay, perfect. So there's our border. So now we need to display flex and space between everything. So let's give it a gap of 3 rem in the header. Okay, so display flex, align items to center, just 5 coordinate space between. There it is. So now what we need to do is to give this text a gradient color. So we need to clip the background of the text. So let's give it a font size and a font weight and a background of a linear gradient. Okay, so background of a linear gradient. So this is the gradient. So you can use any colors you want. These are the colors. And as you can see, that's the background of the text, but we need to clip that background to the text. So we're going to be using WebKit background clip to text. And then we'll set the fill color to transparent. Okay, so now it's clipped to the text. What we need to do also is give it a text shadow, a bit of a shadow for the text. It's going to be 0 for the X, 5 pixels for the Y, 6 pixels for the blur, and then the RGBA for the black color with an opacity of 0.1. That's for the header. So now we need to style this input. So when we click this, the label is going to activate the input, but we need to get rid of this choose file here. Okay, so it's saying no file chosen. So we need to get rid of that. So we're going to target header, and then we're going to target the input class. header.input input. So for the input, I'm going to give it a padding, a border radius, and a cursor pointer. Actually, for the input, let's do a flex. Okay, display flex and center everything. So it's now centered, and I'm going to target the input and then the label. So for the label, I'm going to give it a padding, and then a border radius, and also a border of 2 pixels. There it is, the label. Okay, when you click the label, it's activating the input. But we need to get rid of this input. So to get rid of that, we need to go here, and then we're just gonna say hidden. Okay, so it's hidden, but all we can see is the label now, but we can still activate that input with the label because the HTML for this one is matching the ID, so it's going to link to this input. Okay, so make sure the HTML4 and the ID matches. So now we can open the file. So we also need to display flex because we're going to put an image. Okay, so paste here, display flex, and then a gap of 1 rem. So let's get the icon actually. So font awesome, CDN, awesome CDN. Okay, so copy this first link, copy. We can put it here. And then we need to get, actually, yeah, let's leave it there. Hopefully it doesn't complain about cross origin. We should name it like this. Hopefully it doesn't complain. Okay, so now we need an icon. So we need an icon for the gallery. So for that, go to font awesome, and search for the icon that you want to use. But in this case, I'm just going to use the standard regular gallery icon. So I'm gonna go up here. I'm gonna say const gallery, gallery equal to icon I. So it should be FAS FA images. So that's the icon. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is just go down and display the icon here. Okay, and then here we just say gallery. So save. We should have that icon. There it is. Now the icon is showing. That's what we're looking for. So now it seems like the header is working. Now we need to focus on the main body, the main here. So what in the main? So we have styles domain, this module. So this is by default. So I didn't want to reset this up. So it's already set up by default when you create a new next tab. So we have the module for the main. It's empty. We haven't done anything to it. So what we need to do now, I'm gonna go to the home. We need to style this main. Okay, so for the main, I'm thinking what we should start with. Let's start by giving it a minimum height, a min height, and a padding, and a display flex, and center everything. Okay, so minimum height is 90 VH. So everything is centered like this. That's what we're doing here. But we don't have anything yet. That's why you don't see anything. So if I were to put, for example, an H1 here, I say test. There it is. As you can see, it's now centered. It's centered right here on the screen. So now we just need to add the content. So I'm going to create a component for that content. So the component, you can name this whatever you want. In the source folder, let's create a new folder. Let's name it components. And then let's create a component. Let's name it display image.js. So this component is going to be responsible for displaying the image. So in here, it's going to be a functional component. Okay, so here we can render this component display image. Okay, so now we're rendering the component. Let's start with, I'm just trying to think what we can start with. Okay, let's start with implementing the functionality to actually generate a palette for the image. So we're going to be using a package called color thief npm. Okay, so this is the package we're going to be using. So copy this install. It's going to allow us to get some colors from generate a color palette from the image. I'm going to stop the project and let's install the package color thief. Okay, so while it's installing, we also need to create another component. Let's name this component list item. I'm going to explain what it does later to JS. You can use the JSX extension if you want. Okay, so it's going to be a functional component. Okay, so now let's rerun this npm run dev. It's going to be on 3001 because I'm running the finished version already. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, so let's reload. Okay, so now everything works. Okay, so now for the main functionality, I'm going to, let's import color thief. So we're going to say import color thief from color thief like this. Okay, and we need to create an instance using this color thief later on. So what we need to do now, let's create some state down here. Let's create state. So we're going to have two states in here. State, oh my days, I cannot even spell state. So we're gonna do state for uploaded image. So the image that we upload, we want to put in a state. Okay, and also a color palette state, const color palette state. We need to import useState, so make sure you import useState. Okay, perfect. So now let's create a function to upload the image. Okay, let me turn this off, it's so distracting. Okay, so const, let's do upload image. Okay, so let's check the event object in here. Okay, so in here, what we're going to do is we're gonna get the file that that is coming from the. So here, if we select a file, we want to get that file. Okay, so we're going to put that in a variable. So we're gonna say file, and then we're gonna say equal to e event dot target dot files. Okay, we're going to select the first one. So I'll show you what that does in a minute. So let's do cog e. Actually, let's do cog. Let's output event. So the upload image function, we want to fire that function when we change the input. Okay, so input on change, we're going to do upload image. Okay, so let's see what we're going to see in the console when we upload an image. So let's go to the console, upload image, select an image. There's nothing in the console. Let's refresh. Okay, let's save again. On change, upload image. Very strange. Let's select something again. Okay, so now we can see something again. Okay, so now let's go to the target, and then we're going to go to files. So there's going to be like an array, and then we're going to select the first one. So the first element, it has one item in this case. So we're just going to select the first element. So the first element is going to return us the image that we've uploaded. Look at the name of the image, the size, the type. Okay, so that's what we want to get. So we're getting the first element in the array, in the list. So we want to put that item into a variable called file like this. That's what we're doing here. Okay, and we need to also read that file. So we're gonna say const. Let's name this reader equal to new file reader. Okay, so file reader. So here we're going to do reader dot onload. So basically we're just going to read the file. You go to async, and then you're going to do the event. All right. So in here, what we're going to do, we're going to create the image. img equal to new image. Okay. So let's see what we get if we cog the image. So after the onload, let's do reader dot read read result read as actually read as data URL and then the file. Okay, so let's cog img. Oops, my speakers we're getting an error. I don't know what the error is. Okay, so now let's try again. Refresh the page, select an image. So now we have an image tag, but it's empty. So let's use color. That's where we're going to be using color thief. Okay, so here we're going to do img image dot onload as well, and then it's going to be an arrow function. So in here we're going to say const color thief. We're going to create a new instance of color thief. Go to new color thief, so the new instance. Okay, so const here we're going to do palette. Palette should be color palette actually. Color palette. Okay, equal to new color thief, and then dot get palette. Okay, so this method get palette is coming from color thief itself. Okay, palette, and then we're going to get the palette from the image, and then well, how many colors do you want? You can put 10 colors, 6, 8. In this case, I'm going to put 6 colors. That's what we're going to get. Okay, and then let's see the result. Cog color palette. Okay, so refresh. Let me save this. Okay, so let me refresh again. Okay, nothing happens. Let me check if we have imported color thief properly. Oh, this shouldn't be, this shouldn't be new. I'm just yeah. So we've already created an instance here. I don't know why I put new here. I didn't realize that. Okay, now let's save. So now let's select the image. Nothing still happens. Let's just double check if the naming is correct. The spellings are correct here. Palette. Okay, so the spellings seems to be correct. Ah, yeah, I forgot something here. So we need to do the source. So img image source src equal to event to target to result. Okay, now let's save. Still we have nothing. Okay, let's see if the color thief of cog color thief. Let's see if there's an issue. Nothing seems to be happening. Cog is the reader. Okay, so now we have an array. So now it's working. So now we're getting the palette. The palette is coming. So we have 6 items in here in this array. So the palette, each color is going to be in RGB. So there's going to be numbers for the RGB. So we need to convert this into a string, these values here. So each color is going to be an array. Okay, so this is an array, and arrays. Each color is going to be an array with some numbers for the RGB colors. Okay, so let me see. Oops. Okay, so reader, and then we're getting the array here for the colors, which is here, the color palette, which is here. So the color thief, it should be the empty object here with all the methods for the color thief. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna set the color palette to the color palette. Okay, which is those colors. It's an which is those colors, each color which is an array, and then set uploaded image. I'm gonna set that to event to target the result. Okay, so that's the image. So hopefully we should have a state. So let's check. Let's make sure you have React Developer Tools so you can check the state. What's this warning here? Not add stash. It's using I'm not sure if we're supposed to be adding font or some in the head. I'll check why we cannot do that later. So let's now focus on the state. So display image, actually it should be in the home. So home. So the state is no. So let's check to see if the state is going to change for the image. Select an image. Okay, so now as you can see, we have an image now in the state. Perfect. So that is working. Let's try to display that image. I'm going to get rid of the console. Let's try to display the image down here. What we're going to do is pass that image as a prop. Okay, let's pass the state here. Let's do uploaded image equal to uploaded image. And then we're going to do color palette equal to color palette. Actually, I think I'm going to turn this on. It might be helpful to save us a lot of time. Okay. Okay, so now let's go to the display image. Oops, it's not detecting. Okay, so display image. Okay, and we have uploaded image and color palette. Let's go to the index. This should be uploaded. I think that's the state name. Yeah, uploaded image. So in the display image, that's where we're going to display. So we're going to import styles from home, the module. I'm going to be creating a module in here. So here, let's do class name. Let's do styles. Let's name this whatever. Let's name it content or image content. I'm just gonna name it content. And then down here, let's do image dot image. Okay. So let's display the image. So we're going to check uploaded image. So if we have the uploaded image, whoops. What's this error here? Div, 1 sec. I'm just trying to see what the error's coming. Okay, so we're going to check uploaded image. If we have the uploaded image, we're going to display img. Okay, img src source. We're going to put the uploaded image. Okay, otherwise you can put anything else, or let's do an h2 here. This is temporary. Put an image here. You can put anything you want here. Okay, save. So let's refresh this. So now put an image here. We don't have anything. So when we select an image, now it's displaying that image. Okay, it's centered as well. Okay, nice. It's displaying the image. So what we need to do now is do the styles. Okay, the styles for the image first, and then we'll move on. So let's start with the content in the home. So let's select the content class. Content. So for the content, I'm going to do display flex and put everything into column, and then align everything to center. Okay, nice. What I'm also going to do is let's start styling the image itself. Okay, so for the image, let's start with. Actually, before we go, I need to get this icon to be bigger. So I'm going to select input label in the global. Input label, and then target the I tag, and then put the font size to 1.5 rem. It's much better now. And then let's select the image class, image, and then I'm going to give it a height of 48 rem, and then actually width of 48 rem, height of 25 rem, and then I'm going to display flex and align and justify everything to center. Display flex, and then I'm going to give it a border, the same border we've done before. Border, and then I'm going to do a transition, and then an overflow fitting, because I'm going to make the width slightly overflow the container. Okay, so there is the image. Okay, and the border, but we want to cover this container here with the image, so we want to use object fit to cover. Okay, so we're going to do the hover effect first. We're going to do a box shadow. So when we hover, we're going to have a box shadow, 2 pixels on the X, 4 pixels Y, 7 pixels blur, and then 0.1% for the opacity. Okay, so now what we need to do is do the image, and then select the actual image, and then we're going to do object fit to cover. But first, we need to do the width and height. So width, I'm going to set that to 100% of the container. Okay, but I'm going to do calc. I'm going to do 100%. The plus, I'm just going to add a bit of more width. I'm going to do plus 1 rem. Okay, so for the height, I'm going to do 0.5 rem for the height. Okay, and then I'm going to do object fit cover, or you can do contain. Okay, and then object position to center. So now it's going to cover the entire container, or you can do contain if you want that. That's entirely up to you. Okay, so now what we want to do is to display those colors down here. So if we go back to display image, we are going to have a list of colors. Okay, so it's going to be an unordered list. So let's create a UL. So down here, we're going to do color palette. Okay, so we're going to do a UL. Let's do UL. Okay, so in this UL, we're going to map. Okay, I hate I really hate the the format I'm using. I'm just going to change a few settings later. So here we're going to map through the color palette. Okay, we're going to map through the color palette. Okay, I really hate this formatter. Color palette dot map. Okay, so we're going to get a color. I think this is correct because I'm so confused now. UL. Wait a minute. I'm getting so confused. Wait a minute. UL. Okay, so in here, that's we need to do color palette and map. Okay. What? I don't know why I'm getting so confused. Okay. So here we're just going to, after we map, or just going to return. Let's do an H3 just for testing purposes. I'm gonna do test. Color palette dot map. Very strange. Oh, okay. So now it's working. I don't know. It's just so many, the format I'm using just so weird. Okay, so now we should have a list of colors, like 6 items here. Okay, so those are like colors. So let's see what we're getting. Let's see what we're getting. What we're getting in the console. So we have an array. So each color is an array. Okay, we're mapping through the array, but each color is also an array of the values for the RGB values. So what we need to do is join and make the both join is going to convert it an array to a string. Okay, so we're going to be using the join method. Let's do const RGB. Okay, so equal to RGB. So what we're going to do, we're going to pre-create the text, the RGB, and then we're going to select the first value and put in the first as the first number, and then we're going to separate with a comma. Okay, but what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get rid of this. I'm gonna get rid of everything in here. So except for the RGB. So like this. Okay, I'm going to do color, and then I'm going to do dot join. Okay, I'm going to join them with a comma. So the color, so each value, I'm going to sorry, we're going to join it with a comma like this. Okay, comma separated. So it's going to be RGB in RGB value. So now we're going to be able to see in RGB like this. As you can see now, there it is. That's the value for the RGB because we're joining with a comma, and then it's going to be like a string with the join method. Okay, so with the RGB, I'm going to be creating a function for the hex. Okay, so to do the hex, I'm going to create a function, I think in the up here, actually up here, const to hex. So here we're gonna, in the hex is gonna take in the RGB argument. Okay, so what color? The RGB color we want to convert to a hex value. So that's basically what we're doing on this function to hex. So we need to convert whatever color we pass in there. So to hex RGB color, and then we need to convert that to hex. So I'm going to say let hex. We're using let because this value we're going to change later. So let hex equal to number, whatever the RGB dot to string, okay, or whatever RGB number we pass in. So we're going to convert that to the RGB string to a number. Okay, it's going to be a number. And then we're going to say if hex dot length is less than 2, and then we're going to update the hex variable with 0, and then adding the hex. Okay, so just give me a sec. I'm just I'm checking. I'm not feeling well. Okay, yeah. So now we just need to return. Sorry, we just need to return the hex. I mean, yeah, we need to. Sorry, we need to return the hex. I'm not feeling well. We need to return the hex. So now what we need to do is just call this function cog. We need to do to hex actually, and then we pass in the RGB to hex and then RGB. So we should have. So it's saying not a number. Let's refresh again. So we're getting not a number. Let's see why. Hex to hex. So we're passing the RGB. Okay, so the hex. Oh, so the hex is here is should be a number, but we're converting that to a string. What is it saying? That okay, actually we need to, instead of doing the RGB, because this is the full RGB, so this is not a number. Okay, so we need to put the actual number, okay, and then we convert that to a string. So the actual number is going to be color, and then let's select the first element, okay, and then it's going to convert that to a string like this, to a hex string. But we need to get the full numbers for the hex. So we do color 0, color 1. So we're selecting the first element, second element, third element. That's what we're doing here, and then save. So we should have like a full hex color. Let me refresh this. So we should have like a full hex color. Why is it not showing a full hex color? Okay. It should be, it should be like this to hex, and then we need to do to hex again like this. Okay, we need to keep calling this function on each individual number. Okay, for in each individual set of numbers for the RGB, because it's an array. So for each array item, we need to call that function. Okay, so we should be able to see now the hex color, but it's separated by spaces. Okay, so we need to convert that to uppercase as well. Okay, and also we need to do, instead of comma separated, we need to do like plus, like this. We can do this, something like that, and then we can convert that to an uppercase. So as you can see now, we have a full hex color. There it is. Okay, we also need to add a hash in front of it, so we can certainly do that. We can do like You can do a hash like this, and then we do a plus like this. So we should have a full hex like this now. Okay, so yeah, that's it. We can generate a hex color. So what we need to do now is create a variable const hex equal to, we are basically doing the same thing we've done. Okay, so we're just going to do hash and then to hex, and then we're calling this function 3 times. Okay, to hex color, and then we need to do color 2. Okay, so now we should have a hex version. Let's COG hex. We should be able to see hex and RGB, as you can see here. We have hex and RGB now. That means it's working now. So the only thing that we need to do now is return the list item instead of returning the h3 in here. So list item. Okay, so we're returning the list item. So it should close this component, and then we need to pass in the key. So the key, you can do the index. Okay, index for the key. That's going to be the key because it's a list. And also we need to pass in the RGB. Okay, RGB, because we want to have access to that in the component RGB. We also need the hex. Okay, hex. Okay, so now let's go to the component, the list item, hex and RGB, save. So now what we need to do in the list item, we just need to display the color. Okay, RGB, but I'm gonna do for this div, instead of a div, it's gonna be an li. It's gonna be a list item, and then let's do a class name. The class name, we need to import styles. Import styles, and then for the class name, sorry, I'm not feeling well. For the class name, but let's do styles dot. Let's name it color. Color name like this. You can name this whatever you want. Okay, and then what we need to do now is also do a style. So for the background, we're going to do the RGB. Okay, that's going to be the background of each list item. Now let's save. So we should have a list item. There it is, and then the background is set to those colors that we've converted to the hex. But we're just using the RGB. You can use the hex if you want for the background color, or the RGB. That's entirely up to you. Inside, I'm just going to also have a span. In here, I'm going to have a state const. I'm going to name it copied, and then set copied. Use state. Okay. This should be a state. Okay, so we have copied state and set copied. Okay, so I'm just gonna check copied if it's true. So here I'm gonna say copied. So copied, if it's true, if I click, okay, I'm gonna set the copy to true. I'm gonna change the text to copied. Okay, otherwise I'm gonna set the hex. Okay, I'm just gonna say hex. I'm also gonna import the copy icon from font awesome. Copy icon. And then after the hex, I'm just gonna put the copy icon here. Copy. Okay, nice. So now we just need to style this. So I'm gonna copy color name. Let's go to the module. I'm gonna paste so we can start styling. Okay, but first let's start with this one. I'm gonna give it a class name. I'm just gonna name it colors. So styles dot colors. You can name this whatever you want. All right, I'm going to select the colors. I'm going to also do a display flex for the colors and do a flex wrap to wrap and give it a gap of 1 rem. Save. Now it's side by side. We're using display flex. Perfect. Now instead of doing color name, you can target the li itself actually if you want to. I'm gonna do colors, then targeting the li. I'm going to do position position of relative, because I'm going to position absolute something later inside the color. So position relative and then give it a width and a height of 16 rem. So there's each color item. I'm going to give it a border and a box shadow with 0 on the X, 4 pixels Y, 0 for the blur, and then a green color with an opacity of 90% like this. Or you can actually do a full opacity. I think I'll just leave it a full opacity like that. So we're going to position absolute this, or you can use flex to position this if you want to. I'm going to give it a transition. This list item is going to have a transition. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a hover effect when you have this list item and transform it on the Y minus 5 pixels. Okay, nice. So now we need to position absolute this at the bottom here. So it's colors, li, and then span. That's the target. Okay, that's the target. So we're going to do give it a case of pointer, padding top and bottom 0.5, 1 rem left and right. All right. So now I'm going to give it a position of absolute and a border bottom radius. Okay. Let's see what we have. So there it is. So now there's a nice border at the top here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do display flex and space between the icon and the text. Okay. So there it is. The icon now is space between. So let's do font weight. Font weight. Let's set that to 600 and give it a background color. Okay, so now it's looking pretty good. So that's the styles for that. So now let's target this icon here. So to target the icon, I'm gonna paste. Okay, so now the styles are looking good. So now we can, there's a nice transition if we change the image. It's pretty neat. So you can also increase these colors if you want to. Instead of 6, you can put more. Nice transitions. So let's say if you don't want 6 colors, you can go back here to say, let's say 10 colors. Let's refresh this. We should have 10 colors. So there's 10 colors here. Okay, so yeah, that's entirely up to you how you decide to deal with this. With these colors, you can generate as many colors as you want. I think I'm not sure how many colors you can generate. I think as many as you want. But yeah, so in this case, I'm just gonna go back to 6. I'm also going to let's do the copied state. So when we click to change the state, span. Okay, so set a pointer, right? Okay, so when we click the span, let's do, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? List item. Let's do on click. On click. And then we need to do a callback function. And then when we click, we need to set copied to true. Okay, so hopefully the text should change. copy to true. Okay, but it's not going back to false, is it? We need to do an immediate set timeout and then bring it back to false after 1 second. So after 1 second, we are setting the state back to false. So it's gonna stay 1 second staying copied. After that, it's gonna return to the previous state. Okay. So after that, what we need to do now is create a function for const copy to clipboard. So the copy I can't say the word. So the copy to clipboard function, it's it does the name is pretty self-explanatory. We're going to be copying the text to the clipboard when we click, especially when we click the span. We want to be able to copy the text. It's pretty easy. So we're going to take the event object. So here we're going to do color, const color. So we're going to select the inner text of the item we click on. Okay. Color equal to e.target inner text. So the item we click on, we want to get the inner text. To copy the color to the clipboard, we're going to use the navigator. So we're going to do navigator clipboard or write text color, which is the text that is coming from the inner text of the item, whatever item we are using on this function on. Okay. So in this case, let's go down here. So when we click, we want to copy to clipboard. Okay. So we can do copy to clipboard like this. So this function is going to take event, the e object, and then we're going to put it here, save. So hopefully we should be able to copy our colors to the clipboard. So select an image, click, copy it. Let's try to paste it here. As you can see now, the color is there in the clipboard. Copy. It's there. Okay. So, but in the final version, the colors, it's in capital letters. It's up to you to put this to a capital letter to caps. But I think I'm just going to leave it like this, not using capital letters. But yeah, that's it for this project. If you have any questions, you can let me know down in the comment section. If you want to request a specific video, just let me know. And also, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you're new to the channel. And also share this video if you want me to keep making these videos. I was not feeling well in this video. But yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.